Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Alright everyone, let's dive into my September TBR. So if you missed it, let me just remind you that there is a month-long readathon focused on romance happening in September. Now you don't only have to read romance, but I won't go into every little detail about that because I have a whole video about the Phantom Romance Readathon, which I am a co-host of, which I'm so excited. And so what I am going to do though is that I'm going to go through my quote-unquote normal TBR, all the books coming out that I'm planning to read, the Patreon books I'm planning to read, go through all that stuff. And then the last little chunk of this is going to be the books that I am going to try to read for the Phantom Romance Readathon, as well as I do have a list of, I believe, 8 different Phantom of the Opera retellings, which you can use for whichever team that you're on, because we do get extra points if we read a Phantom of the Opera retelling, if it's a gothic romance, if it is diverse, if it, there's one other thing too. Let me see. I have the notes right here. If we read My Team's Tropes, okay, yeah, My Team's Tropes, if it's a romance book, if it has gothic atmosphere, and if it's, I already said that, the other team's tropes. So those get us extra points. And I have made a little list of the ones that I haven't read any of these. So that's why I didn't end up making a recommendation video for this readathon, because to be honest, the only Phantom of the Opera like book I've read is the Phantom of the Opera itself, is the only one I've read. So, but I did do my research. I looked on some Reddit lists. I looked through some books I even already have on my TBR. I looked at the viewer book rec form I have for some books that say they're gothic, because again, we get bonus points if they're gothic. So yeah, first part will be my TBR. The second part will be like my readathon TBR. But again, all of the books that I read will count for this readathon because everything I'm reading is a book. Also, if you watch Maggie's announcement video or my other host's announcement video, you'll know too that you can also read like manga for this. It's just if you read a comic or a manga, you do have, like, you half the amount of pages that there are, just because there are fewer words on those, but you can read those for it. You know, of course, audiobooks count, like all of those things too. So this is about as inclusive as a romance readathon can possibly be, even more so than the romance takeover readathon that I host. She has thought of everything. So without further ado, because we have a shit ton of stuff to go through, let's get into it here, okay? So the books that I will be reading for Patreon and or rereading or whatever is the group book for September is Heart in the Highlands. And I believe this is Heidi Kimball is the name of the author. And this is one of my booktube big sis's favorite historicals. Crystal's Bookish Life absolutely loves this book. And the theme for Patreon for September was historical, which I don't think that in the like over 2 years I've done it that we've had just like historical be the pick. And so I was like, I want a historical one this time around. And so I did that. And Heart in the Highlands won. So I'm very excited to read this. I do know it is a closed door romance, so I'm telling you guys that, but you know what? We don't always have to have smut. And if there's a place where there isn't going to be smut, I'm okay with it in a historical, because I think a very powerful author can still make you feel all this belly swoops and the thrills without things getting spicy. But I know that won't be everybody's cup of tea, because most of my fans here, my viewers here, you are here for the spice. But when I hear Crystal talk about a book like this with such glowing, you know, feelings, like it gets me excited no matter what. So some other books for Patreon. There's of course some Rena Kent. There is, I will be rereading Hero. I forgot to grab that. I will be rereading Hero by Claire Kent. One of my patrons wants that whole series annotated. Very excited to do that. I will be rereading Soar High by Cherise Sinclair. This will be the last one that I need to reread and annotate. But one of my other patrons has now picked this series as well. So one of the other ones I'm doing is that as well. I will be rereading Not So Truly Yours and annotating that for my lovely Daniela. She's been wanting a bunch of Julia Wolf, which just makes me so happy. And then, yeah, and then, oh, King Cobra. I will be rereading King Cobra as well, which I haven't read in a long time, so very excited to do that. Okay, then I want to share 2 books that I am buddy reading or like book club. Now, I'll just remind you about The Fiery Cross. I'm actually rereading that right now. I'm hoping to finish it before September, just because, as you're about to see, there is a wave of books that's going to be crashing down on me, and I want to make sure I am ahead of the game for Fiery Cross this time so that I can put some discussion questions in the Discord and all of that. But the live show for Outlander Book Club will be in September. I'll put that up here. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but it's already set. This is when we're doing it. So excited for those of you who's been sticking around. If you're wanting to catch up, y'all, there's still time if you get the audiobooks on, although it does get harder to catch up the further along we go, of course. But yeah, absolutely so happy to be rereading this one. The Fiery Cross, I feel like, is a lot of people's least favorite, and I'm not saying it's my favorite in the series by any means, but there are really interesting things that happen in this one, and it really is when a lot of things are moving. So anyway, for you guys, I'm telling you that's in September, though I should hopefully be done rereading it before the readathon starts. Then I'm doing actually a buddy read with my friend Jessin. Yes, Jessin reads romance. She's still around, but she's just a very busy nurse lady, and she will actually be in September going to Rare Edinburgh with Juliet. She'll, you know, it's exciting. And we're actually going to be buddy reading a book while she's like on her trip, because she'll have time to do that. And the book we're reading together is actually Jade City by Fonda Lee, which is another book recommended by Bookish Big Sis. Crystal is absolutely obsessed with the Greenbone saga. They're some of her favorite books this year, and I want on that hype train. I do enjoy some fantasy, and this is apparently kind of like some fantasy mafia, and I've heard like the relationships in here are really great. So even though this isn't a type of like smutty fantasy book, it has a lot of things in it that I will love. And again, I'm cool with that. I'm excited I'm going to get the audiobook for this. And yeah, we're hopefully going to buddy read the whole series if we end up really liking this one, which again, I'm sure that I will. It's actually not as long as I thought it was. It's just at 500 pages, which I know, you know, for some people that's crazy, but I read a lot of books that are around 500 pages. So I'm going to be reading Jade Lee, just a real quick, or Jade City by Fonda Lee. And it says that this is the honorable green bone warriors have used magical jade to enhance their abilities and defend the island of Kekon from foreign invasion. Now the war is over, and a new generation vies for control of Kekon's bustling capital city. 4 siblings of the powerful Call family must prepare for battle, and the fragile peace between the clans is about to break. So I heard magical mafia, and that Big Sis loves it, and we're hooked. We're in. A couple other books that aren't technically part of the readathon, but they're ones I want to get to and will like count for it, is some books I've gotten for PR and for review purposes. And I really am like, I know that the last time I did the readathon, I was able to get through so many books because I was so focused on it. So I'm throwing a lot of books into this, even more so than I normally would. Because again, last year when we did this, I read over 75 books, whereas my normal lately has been between like 35 and 50 is where I've been sitting, which I'm happy with, honestly. That's a good amount for me, about a book a day, a little over. But I have a few of these PR ones that have been sent to me that I want to get to. So one of them is The Sundered Realms by Casey Blair. I did a little unboxing of this one. It's absolutely stunning. Like the art for this one I have heard is an age gap and kind of like a mentor-mentee thing, so a little bit of forbidden. We have someone who needs to be like trained to be a spy and like all these powers, and like it just looks amazing. So I want to read this one. I also want to read Trick by Natalia Jaster. I was sent this special edition of this hardback, which I believe is even numbered. I don't remember if this one was numbered, but I know there was only a certain amount of these that were sent to us. And so I really want to get into the series and give it a try because I'm obsessed. This is so beautiful. And this one is a spicy romantasy, enemies to lovers. Look at this little trope card. Forbidden, forced proximity, touch her, and die. So I want to get to this one. And I don't even know. I was wondering if this one will have some like gothic vibes to it. I don't know. I'll have to see. But I was like, maybe this could even count for the readathon. I don't know. But I want to read this one. Yeah, stay away from the court jester, especially if you're a good little princess. Hello. And then I was sent the entire like series from Meredith Wild. That is her Redliner series. And I know these were released in almost kind of like episodes or whatever. So there is like 9 total and they're put into 3 books. And this was sent to me by Page and Vine. And when you get from Page and Vine, they do really want you to get to them as soon as you can. Now, I will never be pushed into reading a book whenever, but because I believe this is enemies to lovers, that works with my prompts anyway, because mine are enemies to lovers and forced proximity. So I was like, we'll just give it a go anyway. So there we go. This one might even have second chance in it as well, which would be other teams' tropes. So I'm going to try to read this one. What I've been told of this is that I believe this is like a hitman and he's sent to kill someone, and it ends up being someone that he has like loved her before in the past, and so he isn't going to be able to kill her, and then maybe they'll be on the run together. I don't know, just the vagueness of what I've heard, and I want to give it a try. I have read Meredith Wild or 2, but it was a long time ago. I read some of her BDSM books that she had, so yeah. Okay, now let's get into the ARCs and PR and new releases, because there is a lot. Here we go. So on the 2nd, there is Milo by E.L. Lewis. This is a new to me author. I believe this is a mafia romance is what I recall, but I don't know. It's a new to me author. I want to try. On the 3rd, there's Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. Enough said. It's the next book in the Rose Hill series. I actually already have the ARC and the ALC, so this one will probably get read before September since it comes out so early. On the 10th, we have The One I Didn't See Coming by Piper Rain, the next one in that series. There's Truly Madly Deeply by L.J. Shin, which I am going to be getting a physical copy of, I believe. I also forgot Brutal Savage by Lillian Harris comes out on the 6th, which is the next in her current series she has going. Then there is Hooked on You by Nikki Ash. I will be getting a PR box for this one, I believe. I really enjoyed Drunk on You, and this one is a double single parent. Can't wait. And another single parent to bring up is, of course, The Details. My brain just shorted out. In the Details by Julia Wolf. Another double single parent, but also the female, the woman is older. So I already have my arc of that one as well. Can't wait to read it. Temptation Trails by Claire Kingsley. I will be getting an ALC of this one. This is the next book in her, not the Bailey brothers, but the, wow, I can't remember off the top of my head, but you guys know. There's the Baileys and the, I hate myself for forgetting that. But anyway, the next book in her suspense series she has. Born for Silk by Nikki Harris also comes out on the 12th. And as does Hockey Boy by Brittany Nicole. On the 15th, Knock on All the Wood that I have in my apartment, Between Fear and Favor, is supposed to be coming. My Favorite Boss by Melanie Moreland. Look how cute this cover is. It's beautiful. This is going to be a rom-com, a grumpy billionaire. Say less. The Raven of Greystone Castle by Melissa Kieran. This is a new to me author. I did sign up for an arc of this with NerdFam. Not sure if I'm getting it or not, but this is a new to me author and this cover really spoke to me, so we'll see if I like it. On the 18th, we have All Too Well by Corinne Michaels. I'll be getting an arc of that. This is her new series. A Very Bellamy Christmas by S.M. La Violette. This is the next book in the Bellamy family series. And this isn't just a novella, even though it says it's Christmas. She said we're getting a full book that is going to be setting up the next 2 stories. So it is going to catch us up on everyone's romances, which is very exciting. We're going to see what the dynamic is like now that those older sisters are all married off and the parents are no longer like in control of everything. Really looking forward to it. Find Me Along the Shore by Angel Anders. This is the next book in her like forbidden taboo romance series she has. I believe it's Best Friend's Sister, somewhere along there. Loud Unspoken Memories by Samantha Christie. I don't have an arc of this one. I'm still going to read it as soon as it comes out because Quiet Beautiful Things was one of my favorite books I read last month. So definitely going to read this one. A Jingle Bell Mingle by Sierra Simone and Julie Murphy. Don't know if I'll get to this one in this month, but it is coming out. Wraith King by Juliet Cross. I think we understand why I'm excited for that one. The Finest Print by Erin Langston. I do have an arc of this one. Can't wait to get to it. Forever Your Rogue was, of course, in my favorites of last year as well. A Fire in the Sky by Sophie Jordan. Not sure if I'll get to this one, but I wanted to share. This is a historical romance author who I believe she wrote this series previously, and it's being re-released fantasy here. Then I just recently signed up for Tell Me It's Right by Katie Wismer, and this is her small town romance coming from her, fellow YouTuber out there. On the 26th, we have Beg For Me by J.T. Geisinger. Also on the 26th, there is Sunday Morning by Julianne, Blindside Beauty by Lex Martin, and Change of Heart by Hannah Bailey. So, another heavy-hitting day. On the 27th, we have When You Give a Lawyer a Kiss, which is a novella in her Billionaire series. Cheap Heat by Lily Mayne. This is the 3rd book in her Goliaths of Wrestling. She's getting 2 of those out real quick for us. Then there is an author that will be new to me, but the promotion stuff I've been seeing around this book has me like, I am intrigued. And it is called Forgive Me, Father by Katarina St. Clair. And taboo priest romance, but also fantasy. Say less. Then there is an October book, but I'm putting it in here because I will be reading it in September, and that is Slapshot Surprise by Melanie Harlow. I actually may read it before September because she sent out the ARCs very early for this one, and I think it's because this one will be getting like traditionally published after it's this, so she had to get the book done a lot earlier. So those are all of the books that I most likely will be getting to because they are, you know, ARCs, new releases, ones I'm excited about. Now I have those Phantom of the Opera readathon books I'm looking at, and I will go over the blurbs for these ones for you. If you don't care about the readathon or you're done with that, bye-bye. Thanks for watching. But if you want some Phantom of the Opera retellings, maybe still stick. Okay, so one that I think a lot of the fellow hosts and people are mentioning because it is a recent, like, well-known one. There is Phantom by Greer Rivers. This one says it's a dark, modern, romantic retelling of Phantom of the Opera, and I believe it is also, like, mixed in with some mafia stuff here. It's set in modern-day New Orleans, and it's a standalone in a series here. It says there is I witnessed sweet Scarlet Day's dark side. She's been my obsession ever since. I was content with being her secret, content with protecting her from afar until an enemy from my past sets his sights on her. Our families have a deep history of hatred, and Scarlet is caught in the middle. Meanwhile, her mind plays tricks with her. When a panic attack goes horribly wrong, I emerge from the shadows to save her. Now that she's mine, I can't let her go. I've mastered the darkness. She tempts me with her light. But when my mask is gone, will she fear the monster beneath? So I have seen a lot of people talking about that one. Then there is a fan fiction. Like I said, I have a few that are fan fictions. So this one here is called The Nightingale's Mate. And this one just has a quick summary here that says, Eric begins his life anew in Paris after many years of trial and struggle. Swearing to never again submit to a man's fickle emotions, perhaps Christine Daae can change his mind. So this one says it's 129,000 words. Some of the tags here say that it is a canon rewrite. I mean, of course it is. Slow build, eventual happy ending, falling in love, smut, protective Eric, teenage Christine, And yeah, it's a Phantom of the Opera retelling right there. So this one looks like it could be a fun option. Then there is Unmasked by Colette Gale. This one is by an author. I actually read the like Robin Hood version of one of these, but so this is an erotic retelling, like it straight up it is. I actually read, like I said, the one that was, I read Bound by Honor, which was a Robin Hood retelling. So it's all erotic, but it is that like gritty, like dark kind here. So this one is Unmasked by Colette Gale. And it says that an exquisite obsession, Christine Daae has heard terrifying stories of the man known as the Phantom of the Opera. But as the Paris Opera House's youngest and most compelling star, Christine has learned the truth about the scarred man. In a lush hideaway beneath the Opera House, she craves the velvet timbre of his arousing voice and quivers beneath the touch of his leather gloves. The Phantom is real, her masque d'ange, her liberator, and Christine is his inspiration. An erotic awakening. Condemned to the catacombs beneath the streets of Paris, Eric watches the beautiful, talented Christine from the shadows. He is careful to keep his identity and his secret in the dark, but he cannot resist her beauty and talent. Her extraordinary loveliness haunts him like no other woman, and only he can pleasure her like no other man. But his sensual power comes with a price, and a risk to everyone who stands between them. For Christine, too, is succumbing to her most forbidden, dangerous desires, and as she gives everything for the Phantom, her world spirals into the darkest and most dangerous eroticism of all. So I don't know what that means there, but this series is called Seduced Classic. So the other one I still want to read also is Master, which is an erotic retelling of The Count of Monte Cristo. So really great. We have another fan fiction, and this one is called Volee, V-O-L-E-E. And this one says, think of this as Down Once More, the extended modern day remix. Gunshot wounds, fast cars, first-class flights, FBI in pursuit. But it's the quiet moments, the conversations that leave Christine shaken, hurtling towards her inevitable decision. So this one is on fanfiction.net. Again, I'll have a link to that. This one is 147,000 words, and I like the modern vibe it's talking about. That sounds really fun. Okay, then there is another fan fiction that is called Of Fairy Noldies and Roses. I can't pronounce that. I'm so sorry. This one is 140,000 words, and it is a modern retelling with LaRue undertones. That is the author of the original, if you don't know. He began as an angel that came back to her one frightening night. As Christine is slowly swept up into the dangerous, passionate obsession, will she survive his dark world and even darker past? So the author kind of says here, she has a little note, so I'll read this one. It says, I know there are a ton of modern day stories out there, but I decided to take a try at one. Truthfully, this is somewhat of an original story idea that morphed into fan fiction, and by fan we mean P-H-A-N, like Phantom fan. The first few chapters are going to be mostly original ideas that kind of make up for the Angel of Music scenario, which would be less believable in a modern day setting. After that, it's going to follow the events of the book to a certain degree. Names will be the same. Some places of the story will be real and some will be fictional. I've tried to stay fairly accurate in details, but feel free to tell me blah, 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 blah. So that is what we're looking at. So I guess she also is looking at, there's a book called Phantom by Susan Kay, and I think that's what a lot of this one is kind of based on there. But okay, after that one, we have one that there is actually a read-along happening for this one. So if you enter the readathon and you join the Discord, there are going to be some buddy reads happening for some of these. So this one is The Forgotten Phantom by Catherine Ann Kingsley. And this is one a lot of people are excited about as well. It has a really cool cover. This looks like an old school like play cover. It looks really great. And this one says it's a gripping second chance retelling of the Phantom of the Opera tale. So keep your hand at the level of your eyes. Christine is certain that the Institute is trying to get rid of her. Why else would they send her to investigate a 100-year-old cold case about some elusive phantom lurking in the depths of a crumbling old opera house? Turns out she's probably right, but as unlikely as it seems, there might be something to it. There's definitely more in the shadows than just a few rats and some pieces of forgotten scenery, especially now that she's woken to it. Or woken it up. The phantom is real, and now he's set his sights on her. As the old legend starts to come to life around her, Christine is becoming increasingly snared in the web of a monster who has linked her to the ghost from the past. But is the phantom fiend or friend? Angel of music or demon of the pit? Her lover or her killer? So, that is fantastic. So it says there's stalking and murder, and it's a horror romance, so some content may be upsetting. So yeah, they're going to be buddy reading this one, which sounds awesome. And I did put this one as a possible on my list. Okay, this one is one that I'm very intrigued about. Look at this cover. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. So this one is a monster romance, and it's also a reverse harem. So if you are one of the dance troupe, this one might be good for you. So this one says, men like this don't exist. Gorgeous, dark, angry, seductive. Stone doesn't come to life. Leave me wanting more. It's impossible. Until it isn't. My name is Christine Daniels, and I'm going mad. It was supposed to be simple. 1 month, 1 opera, 1 chance to make my entire career, but now I'm going crazy. I was only here to sing, but nothing in Paris is what it seems. The old opera house feels very much alive. Voices echo through the walls, gargoyles come to life, and I'm dragged into a whole new world that I never knew existed. A world of monsters. By day they whisper through the stone, and by night they make me theirs. Fangs and wings and claws that leave me aching with need. Pleasure that claims me over and over until I belong to them. But darker monsters than mine are hunting me in order to punish my mates. They've decided they want me, and because I'm not made of stone, I might not survive. So this is a fast burn, standalone reverse harem with knots, wings, claws, tails, 3 possessive gargoyles determined to make the heroine theirs. This book is part of a series of standalones, so blah, 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 blah. So yeah, if you are here for reverse harem is your trope you're going for, this one might be here. Okay, then there is Midnight Duet by Jenn Comfort. I remember when this one came out, because I think this one's a traditionally published one here. So yeah, this is at a Nevada opera house. So self-professed diva Erica Green. Okay, so this one, there's an Erica. A starring role on Broadway, legions of fans, spectacular natural talent. But after an accident on stage leaves her face scarred and her career in shambles, Erica retreats to Paris, Nevada, where she's inherited a ramshackle opera house in desperate need of some TLC. Erica pours her savings into the building, but it's not enough to stave off casino developer Raoul Decomte, a voracious gaze. With foreclosure imminent, she leases the space to some unexpected tenants, a German hair metal band fronted by glam rock god Christoph Daye. Okay, so this is a gender swap. That's cool, cool, cool. Erica is tempted by Christoph's low-slung leather pants, and even more by his ambitious drive to make knocked music, or like night music, international superstars, but he's off limits. The rest of the band thinks he's still dating their beloved keyboardist, who is conveniently not present on this jaunt to the American Southwest. When Erica finds out Christoph's being unceremoniously dumped and is trying to keep it under wraps, she makes a deal to keep his secret for a price, of course. Christoph is desperate to hold the rest of the band together after his keyboardist's departure, but he can't maintain the charade forever, nor can he resist the opera house's mysterious proprietor who tempts him with midnight singing lessons. It isn't long before sensuous nighttime interludes turn into smoldering backstage encounters. But can their newly ignited passion survive the searing light of day, or will their beautiful duet turn into a broken-hearted power ballad for one? Ooh, interesting. Interesting there as well. Okay, now the last one that I'll share is Music of the Night by Angela Ford. And I actually have this one on my Kindle because I bought it before. And this one is a gothic romance. And this one is Phantom of the Opera meets Beauty and the Beast in this gothic-inspired fantasy romance. A haunted tower, a mysterious instructor, and the lure of the music of the night. After the death of her father, Arya is left penniless and destitute. To avoid working the streets, she becomes a ward of a count and moves to a remote town called Hightower. Hightower is a gloomy place with one vivid attraction, the theater. Lords and ladies come from afar to be seduced by a night of unforgettable entertainment. Many are warned to stay away from Hightower's dangerous enchantments, but it's a warning Arya is forced to ignore. Determined to take her life back into her own hands, she and the Count make a deal. She can avoid an arranged marriage if she learns to sing for him. When Arya stumbles across a mysterious man in a dark tower, she begs to learn the power of song from him. Although reluctant, the man agrees to teach her the music of the night. Between midnight meetings and emotional singing lessons, Arya falls in love with her alluring instructor despite his shadowy past. But something deadly stirs, awoken by the desire of its master. Evening reveries become haunted with terror, blood, and murder. Rumors claim the man in the tower is behind the madness that haunts Hightower. A truth Arya is loath to believe, for she just gained the desire of her heart. What she doesn't know is that her haunted instructor intends to use her for his own purposes. So, those are all of those. Now, there are just a couple other books that I also have on my TBR, or maybe just one. There's just one. I also have Untouched by Anna Campbell on my list, because this one is a gothic forced proximity, and I want to maybe try to get that one. That was put in my viewer rec form quite a while ago. There's also Bloody Fingers and Red Lipstick by Dolores Lane, and Beyond the Sea by L.H. Causeway, which are possible choices as well. So there we go. I hope you will join us for the Phantom Romance Readathon. It's going to be so much fun. Remember, you can be as involved with it as you want. Definitely check out my announcement video or check out the other hosts if you want to know more. Let me know what you're most excited about to read for September. I'll have links to some of these books down below. You can pre-order some of them if you want to. And yeah, that's it for me. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.